Hi, welcome to Flycatcher Costumes, where I'll be documenting my journey as a small business owner, show off some products, prototypes, and probably some personal projects, and just have some fun and whimsy in life. Long time no see, I'm trying to get better at having a consistent upload schedule, but alas, winter break has been a lot. So, a lot of small business creators like to help others follow their path and give you advice on what to do. How to find good manufacturers, best deals on shipping supplies, what platforms are you going to use for both selling your product and for advertising them, how to make videos advertising what you do. I'm going to take this a bit differently, seeing as I haven't technically started yet. I'm going to show you some of the questions I've had to ask myself in order to make sure I even wanted to start a business, especially at this time in my life. Let's pull back the curtain to see what goes on behind Flycatcher Costumes, starting with my actual curtain. I was going to have a bit about good natural lighting for videos, just to be hit with a reminder that back in my college dorm, the view from the window is a brick wall. Now, as most small business creators will say, you need to figure out your why. Why are you making your business? Why are you choosing to do what you do? But let me add on to a bit. So, let's go back to elementary school with the basic questions of who, what, when, where, and why. The how will probably come in a later video. First up, the who. Who do you want to present yourself as? Your image and your business aesthetics is going to play a large part in what you do or how you show it. For example, stores like Spencer's have a bit of a street alternative vibe to them, which reflects the audience. Panera has a fireplace and goes deep into the earth tones to give a sense of coziness and homeliness, which is what they want to promote to their customers. I'm not sponsored by either of these, by the way. I just like going there. But if anyone from Spencer's or Panera want to sponsor me, I'm not going to say no. All this to say, you need a theme. One that matches what you're going to be selling, or, like me, will inspire you and help curate what you do want to sell. For example, I love medieval fantasy, I love LARPing, I've been to the Renaissance Fair about 4 years in a row, so I wanted to make stuff for the people who were also in that niche. Especially because that said niche has a big appreciation for people who make things themselves. Additionally, I've been sewing for years, and I'm currently in school for costume design and technology. My mom's also a business owner herself, and while what I'm going to be making is vastly different than what she makes, I still want to follow her footsteps in that way. So, that sums up my who. I'm a costume design student with a background in sewing and business, with a love for all things Ren Fair. Your who can tell you a lot about what to expect before you even have to figure out what exactly to sell. Your what is another relatively easy part of figuring things out in the concept stage, but if you're not careful, it can quickly spiral into one of the worst. From what I've learned by trying to make my own business multiple times before, I'm surprised I've gotten this far on attempt number 3, you can't make everything. You can't. If you try to do that, you're going to burn yourself out before you even get started. It is so important to take your current skills, knowledge, and what sort of business you're going to try and run, and use that to reflect what you make. At least for a start. You can always expand later. This is just for the, I want to make a business, this is how I start out. So, as indicated with my business name, Flycatcher Costumes, I want to make costumes. But right now in my costume journey, I don't really know how to make clothing for people who aren't me. Commercial patterns don't tend to cater to those who are above a certain size, and I'm not too comfortable yet with drafting my own patterns. I still need some experience. Thus, since I'm not too comfortable with figuring out how different measurements number-wise fit into the non-industry standard small, medium, large, XL above scale, and even more uncomfy with the thought of someone buying one of my products hoping it will fit just to find out that I screwed up somewhere on the pattern and it doesn't. I'm going to start simple. I'm going to have my first launch or two, maybe three, focused more on accessories, which don't really need to be sized. That way I can get my start, I can build up a network, find my audience, and really get into a groove before I start going at it. Thus, I looked into Pinterest. A lot of Pinterest. But also my local law people for ideas. Amped Garters, shout out to you. Of my research and an assessment of my current skills, something I wanted to go to were bags. People need to carry their stuff. And so that led me to putting some leaf-shaped bags, acorn-shaped bags, and foldable drawstring bags onto my list of first launch products. Since, at least in Amped Guard as well as Renaissance fairs, belts were very commonly used for either decoration, holding stuff up, cinching that waist, or holding things that hold things. So, for the leaf and folding bags, those would slide onto belts. The acorns, I'm thinking more of a crossbody. I wanted to throw out some other things for fun as well, so there's a high chance that, at least eventually, I'll be using the very same cotton fabrics that I'm going to make the foldable drawstrings out of into dice trays, since not only are games an important part of that nice tavern vibe, but also because a lot of people who LARP or go to Renaissance fairs tend to play TTRPGs as well, like D&D, Warhammer 40k. Do people still play Pathfinder? So to round out the starting product list, we also have these big wizard hats, which you can find out how I prototyped such a thing in this video over here. For why I chose to start with so little, I looked into my current time and skills. This was supposed to be a larger list when it came to launch, but as time marched on, I figured that since January would be very busy for me trip-wise, and December bringing finals, to lower my expectations on myself. Otherwise, I would be wholly burnt out right at the finish line. Keeping it simple, few products to start, and I know that I can make them in a relatively short amount of time. And then I'll just keep building up and up as things progress. Again, you always have the chance to expand, even though it's probably a bit smarter to start out small. This works for me. It may not work for you. Think about which method works for you and your current and possibly future situations. The when is a tricky and sort of subjective thing for me to talk about, especially as my business is still very much in the works. I haven't officially launched yet. I also can't really speak for others on when is a good time to start a business. Again, I don't know personal situations. So I'll just talk about how I decided to start a business at the time I did, some things I had to consider, and why I chose the launch date that I did. The first reason why I chose the date of February 28th was that I was not going to have enough time for a Christmas launch. Now, Christmas is a big time for businesses, many releasing things purely just for the holiday season. But with the idea of this business starting in late April of last year, technically, no. Especially with sophomore year of college starting at that point, marching band. We went to London actually, so that was a full semester commitment, and all the other smaller things that I had to say yes to. That was my lower bound. It can't be before this time. That's too soon. So what was my upper bound? When was it, quote-unquote, too late? This is not to say that it can be too late to start a business. I believe that anyone of any age can always give it a shot like I am. But what would be, quote-unquote, too late for me? I decided that too late would be once I've already graduated college. By then, I'll be looking for full-time jobs, have less time in general to do things that I like to do, and since theater soaks up time like a sponge, I can't exactly do too much experimenting when I get to that point. Additionally, Business costs money. They say spend money to make money. And while I think that's true, they never tell you just how much money you're about to spend for materials, packaging, advertising, the whole of it. So I'm also trying to get, hopefully, a hold of things, have already had time to get past the first few hurdles, make a few mistakes, and the plan is to possibly have a consistent enough extra stream of income before those student loan payments stop. From looking at my upper and lower bound, I decided to go for February 28th. It's past Christmas, I'll have more than a month to get used to my spring classes, and the 28th is memorable. It's the end of a month. Easy for others to remember. All goes well, I get my first sale as a late birthday present. Who knows? Starting a business in college is a bit hard when it comes to location, especially when you live on on-campus housing and distinctly far away from where you live. So, where do you make your products? Do you put your home address as your return address, or your campus one? What do you do when you're out for the summer and someone wants to process a return for an address you're not going to be able to receive for at least another month or two? And where are you even going to put everything? This section I'm going to keep a bit light with the address thing, since I'm still yet to figure all that out along with the logistics of such. But I'm definitely going to work from both home and from college, as I'll be running on the launch method, where I make a bunch of stuff, but once it's gone, people have to wait until the next batch to buy it again. This is different from the made-to-order method, where I only make something once someone buys it. For storage, I have semi-lofted my bed and keep all of my fabrics in inventory underneath, with patterns being stored in this binder that I've had since 7th grade. Let me know if you want a video on this thing. Now, where will I be making all of this stuff? Some businesses, for example, sticker businesses or print businesses, will often have all of their products made by a manufacturer in bulk sent to them, where they can then ship it out to their customers. Though with the nature of my business, I am the only manufacturer and will have to make everything. While I'm here at college, I technically have permission to use the machines in the costume shop as long as I provide everything but the machine. This works out really well because it cuts down on some costs that I would have to foot myself. An iron? Not as big of a need, even though I keep a mini iron in my dorm in case of emergencies. If you're my RA, you didn't hear that. I also won't have to explain to my RA why I would have a big hammer in my room, as I'll just use the sharp one if I need to put in a grommet. I'm grateful that there's a Walmart near campus, about walking distance, so thread and other sewing essentials are not too far away. As for fabric, I figure that when I run out. I get my fabrics from either a small local shop from back home, since as a small business, I want to promote other small businesses as much as I can, or some of it is fabric gifted to me. I have a small Excel sheet in the works tracking where I got things, how much they cost, and if I found any dupes by the time that I've run out of some fabric. Time for the reason why you probably clicked on this video, the why of creating a business. Now, this answer is going to be one of the most personal questions you're going to have to ask yourself. So if you've been following this along with hopes to start your own business sometime soon, like I am, I'm probably going to say a bunch of stuff that either matches your ideals or the complete opposite. I don't know. I can't see you all from here. One of the main reasons of creating Flycatcher Costumes is that with the line of work I'm going into, costume design can be one of those industries where it's better for you the more people you know, who can then vouch for you and your work. But I'll be coming out of college knowing a pretty decent amount of people and having a lot of work to show, but not as much as someone who has been in the field and working for this stuff for years. Mix that with the starving artist stereotype, and I didn't want that for myself. So, while theater work will be my main focus, Flycatcher Costumes is my plan B in case it takes a while to get a steady career. It also serves, again, as a way to prototype new things, get more confident with my stitching and my pattern drafting skills that will hopefully help me. Another reason is, of course, my mother. She has her own local business that started out with her making clothes for other people, and she was the one who taught me how to sew from a very young age. Yet for some reason, never let me touch any fabric over a yard, and now she tosses yards and yards of whatever she doesn't want into my arms nowadays. Not making too much fun, I just thought it funny that she didn't really let me make anything clothing-wise. And now she fully supports me in making clothing. My mom also got me a mannequin. I don't know how she got my measurements this accurate, seeing as the last time I remember her measuring me was, I believe, back in 2023. I don't have a name for the mannequin, so if you have any suggestions, I read every comment. I don't know how to get a home at the end of the semester. I think I'm just gonna have to figure that out when it comes to finals week. Thing is, she no longer sells clothes or anything sewn, really. Several years ago, she bought ownership of a wax bead franchise location, and now she sells that along with other scent stuff. Again, I mainly just want to veer off from her path in the way that what I'm making is very different than what she makes. The last reason I'll get into is LARP. I joined my first LARP, Amped Guard, over a year ago. I had big ideas, but not really the ability to show them off in the style I wanted when starting out. It took a lot of time to get pretty close. I'm still not at my quote-unquote dream outfit for my character Moth, but it got me thinking about my personal style. I was surrounded by people with really cool outfits, typically either made themselves or most often gifted from others. I was at the spring coronation for the kingdom last April, where I saw even more people looking really, really cool. Looking like how I wanted to sort of look. And still working with some thrift store stuff, and a badly fitting outfit I made last minute. I made pants for the first time for this. I made pants and a shirt all by myself. I don't know how I haven't made that stuff before literally April of 2024. So I looked at the few people who had put up shop at Coronation and didn't really find any really clothing options. I got some small accessories, some of which I try to wear every day, but not much else. So through that experience, I started making more of my outfit, swapping out original for handmade, and it got me thinking. I'm someone who tends to dress very masculine, and if I were making things for LARP, well, all I'm saying is that there needs to be more variety for men in general that isn't the standard Amazon pirate shirt, and more variety for women that isn't a corset and a skirt. Because trust me, it's super hard to fight in either. I wanted to be that kind of change that you can see in the world, or at the very least, do what I can to help it out. So when I finally do get into making clothing for the site, expect a lot of it to lean a bit more masculine, androgynous. Also because circle skirts take up so much fabric. I'm probably not really going to do cloaks either. I also like the idea of the types of clothes that you really want to see, even though they're not the standard, to just wear them anywhere. Wear what you like looking in, wear what you like being in, wear what fits your personality. Bringing the fantasy and joy back into the world, as I say in my intro. So, some projects I have planned will also be more catered to everyday wear as well, while still keeping that fantasy in it. I have so many ideas for this business. As soon as I learn the pattern stuff more and get actually confident in it, It's over. So, that's my who, what, where, when, and why of Flycatcher Costumes. I know this video was a lot of me talking into the void, and I'll definitely have some more making stuff videos later, but this video serves as a channel intro, a get to know me video, and the first in my series Journey to Launch, which will be a combination of short and long videos detailing my progress. Probably going to keep the series going after I launch. Who knows?